month, our new series, we're calling it Changing the Game, is profiling extraordinary women making an impact now and on future generations. As Beyonce says, who runs the world? Girls. This morning, we're going to introduce you to one of the pioneers behind the Moderna COVID vaccine. Her name is Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett. She's taken on vaccine hesitancy, and she's spent her career fighting for equality in healthcare, landing her a spot on the cover of Time magazine. You go, Dr. Corbett. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation provided funding for the studies that Dr. Corbett contributed to. Melinda French Gates has long admired Corbett from afar, which is why she chose her to be part of our series. Jamie Yucca sat down with both women at the nonprofit eBell that's in Los Angeles, which has a mission to educate and uplift women.
It's still very surreal to me. I still cannot believe we as a team did that.
I was told that I was one of the first people to open the vial of the vaccine.
At just 36 years old, Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett worked night and day with a team of scientists developing Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine in record time.
Why is Dr. Corbett a game changer?
Oh my gosh, she's an absolute game changer because when she was at the National Institutes of Health, she really laid down the backbone for the COVID-19 vaccine.
Being honored by people like you and having people say that out loud is certainly so surreal.
What's also surreal? Listening to Dr. Corbett's timeline once COVID-19 was discovered.
It was almost from January 6th on, no one got any sleep.
Have you slept lately?
I slept on the plane here.
All of us have now become familiar with the term global pandemic. Both these women say what motivates them is the dedication to improving people's health around the world.
Because we had a whole number of virologists and epidemiologists and had many partners in the field, we jumped on it to say, my gosh, whatever gets developed here needs to be done for the whole world in mind, not just the high-income countries.
Do you think we're going to get better about seeing those disparities and fixing that?
I was an undergrad when the HIV pandemic was in an uproar. And one thing that I saw was that it really only mattered what neighborhood you lived in. What we have to do is continue to keep the conversation open. Definitely. Because the same types of disparities that we saw with COVID-19, we saw with HIV, we've seen with so many other diseases.
Working toward equal distribution of the vaccine was just the beginning.
I hope you guys are rested and peaceful and healthy and vaccinated.
Corbett has spent the last 2 years encouraging anyone and everyone to get the shot.
You said something, you said vaccine hesitancy, and I know you don't like using that term.
I don't.
You like vaccine inquisitiveness. Mm-hmm. Why?
By calling them vaccine inquisitive, you give them the liberty to be the scientists, actually. Ask the question. Ask the question. And if I can, I will answer it for you. A lot of these people have just never had their opinions heard before.
You know what I also heard in that, though, is that as a woman, young woman, you are allowed to have a voice.
That is one of my daily affirmations.
Is it?
Yes. I am strong. I am beautiful. I have a voice. Say it out loud every single day. You'll start to believe it. And then when someone doesn't believe it, you won't care.
There's a lot of doubt when you're creating something new, and you absolutely have to have a team because then you have each other's back when you hit a dead end or somebody else then maybe figures out the piece you couldn't figure out, right? It's almost like you're working a puzzle.
Corbett found that very first puzzle piece pretty early on.
I was 16 and I wanted a new pair of shoes that my parents were like, no. You're not getting those, and if you want to have a job, then it must have an educational slant. And so I went and I got a job and worked in this laboratory at the University of North Carolina, and I just fell in love.
And did your parents affirm to you that you could be anything you wanted to be?
All the time. My dad used to say, oh, I don't care what you are, just be the best at it.
I had that exact same message from both my parents. You can be anything you want to be. You should go, definitely you're going to be college going, and we will take on the debt.
I remember talking to my dad, and he said, just go where you're going to be loved. And it was almost immediate that I knew where I needed to be in the next step.
You just don't see as many girls in technology and in science, and certainly you don't see as many people of color. And I really feel like it's hard to be what you can't see. And so I think you're a huge role model. I know you're a huge role model to so many young girls.
Yeah, you know, it is an honor to be inspirational, for sure.
Wow. Melinda French Gates and Dr. Corbett, a 1-2 punch. Yeah. I love the two of them together. I think it's really great. And Vlad and I both said this at the same time when they said she's 36.
We all did. Whoa,
36.
Wow. If she did nothing else for the rest of her career, she would have already had a historic career. And that's an amazing thing at age 36.
I also love her daily affirmations. Yes, I'm strong. I'm beautiful. I have a voice. And I've always been somebody who's like, do I really need to repeat daily affirmations to myself?
Power in that.
There is power in them. Absolutely.
Yes. And she said after a while you start to believe it, and if people don't believe it, it won't matter.
Yeah.
I wrote that down too.
Yeah, me too.
I'm beautiful. I have a voice.
I hope it applies to all of us. Yes. I'm going to try it.
Thank you for that. Nicely done, Jake.
Yeah, really nice piece. Really great. And she's definitely paving the road for other girls going into science. It's a pipeline that needs to be full, and is now. All right, coming up.